Hello everyone, I welcome you all at Unacademy. My name is Sahil and in the today's video, we are going to discuss a very important topic for GS paper number 2, International Relation and India's Foreign Policy Dynamics, Global South Summit, which has recently been hosted by India. You might have read quite a lot about it in the newspapers. So in today's video, we are going to discuss all the dimensions associated with Global South Summit, what are key takeaways, what are initiatives that have been launched by India and how it will accelerate India's diplomatic agenda in the developing countries. All these dimensions we are going to cover. Now, let's start with the session. But before moving guys, I would like to tell you. But before moving guys, I would like to tell you about Unacademy UPSC GS subscriptions that you can avail. You can avail the UPSC Plus as well as Iconic subscription. You can use my code Sahil29 to get a flat 10% discount. These courses are available for 36 months, 24 months, 18 months, 12 months. So basically you can learn at your own pace. And why you should choose Unacademy? Because here you get the widest choice of educators, flexibility to change your course, unlimited views on lectures, dedicated doubt solving sessions, printed comprehensive notes, end-to-end preparation taking care of all the stages of the exam, live mentorship session and daily answer writing practice sessions are an added advantage. And now the free extension week offer is back where you can avail extension of up to 12 months. For example, on 12-month subscription, you get 2 months free extension. On 18 month, you get 4-month extension, and likewise on 36 months, you get an extension of 12 months. You can avail, and for that, you can use again the code Sahil29 to get the subscription. And we have recently launched Arambh batch, which will be a precise and a comprehensive batch for 2024. It is a English batch where India's top educators are going to cover the topics with you. Now, moreover, at Unacademy, we believe that the paying capacity should never be a constraint, and you can enroll in all these courses at 0% EMI. You can call at this number and my team will guide you with the bare minimum formalities. And recently, Unacademy has also launched the test series for taking your journey at a next level. You can join the test series at a very nominal price and you get option of you will have an option here to be tested on 55 plus test where 46 GS and 10 CSET test will be there. So first of all guys, recently the Voice of Global South Summit was conducted virtually. Now before going in that, we need to understand that what's the meaning of this word Global South, Global North. So guys, understand this particular thing, that today we find that there is a huge divergence between the global north, countries of North America such as US as well as countries of Western Europe and other European countries. They have very high socio-economic indicators. Their per capita income are very high, developmental indicators, okay, social indicators are very high. But on the other hand, the countries in the southern hemisphere, particularly the regions of Africa, Latin America, then many of the Asian countries, they have a poor socio-economic indicators, economic development is not very high. So we see that the world is apparently divided in two parts. Now this division is not geographic division, but this division is also socio-economic and developmental division. So global north means the developed countries, fine, and global south means developing countries. Now the point is that over the past few years, there have been quite a few divisions between global north and global south that have happened. For example, number one is that you might be knowing this thing that on environmental front, global north and south is divided. Developing countries demand climate finance. For example, $100 billion of climate finance was promised by global north, the developed countries, that it will come. But up till now, those $100 billion have not come. So on environment, on trade, on diplomatic aspects, on the reform in United Nations Security Councils and other multilateral bodies, there are a lot of disputes between north and south. Now, the global south needs a voice which can keep forward global south's viewpoint in the front of global north. And India has emerged that particular leader who will be putting forward the viewpoint of all the developing countries, global south countries. And in order to promote that agenda, Global South Summit has recently been launched by India. So you can see that it is India's leadership role in G20, where India has recently assumed presidency. Now, first of all, what are important initiatives that India has taken in this Global South summit that has recently been held? Number one is Arogya Maitri. Now, what is this Arogya Maitri? Under Arogya Maitri, India has pledged to provide medical supplies to Global South countries whenever they will be hit by any natural disaster. Now, see this particular thing, that when the COVID-19 wave was going on, India has carried forward vaccine Maitri. Under the vaccine Maitri, to more than 70 countries, we have provided COVID vaccines. So India has been the responder in times of crisis. Moreover, India being one of the largest generic pharmacy, okay, has an ethical responsibility also to respond to the countries in crisis. So taking forward that particular role, under Arogya Maitri, medical supplies will be provided to the countries who have been hit by these natural disasters. Then the next is Global South Science and Technology Initiative. Now see this thing, India has done some credible and many breakthroughs India had carried in defense, in technology, in science. Now India will teach those particular, India will share that expertise with the global south countries. Now you see this thing, global south are all the developing countries. They have quite a similar challenges that India is also having, but India had successfully solved many such kind of challenges, and now India will provide a leadership role. So here, Arogya Maitri, second is Global South Science and Technology Initiative. Now specific collaborations will be done for space technology and nuclear energy. Now as guys we are moving towards carbon neutrality targets. So in those carbon neutrality targets, how the coal carbon emissions are to be reduced, so the nuclear energy becomes a plausible option. So India will help in that direction. Then Global South Center for Excellence. Now in the Global South Center for Excellence, basically we will be focusing on such kind of developmental solutions that can be scaled up and implemented around the world. Now there are many of the developmental challenges that the countries, particularly the global southern countries, are facing. So how to provide solutions for those developmental challenges, how to scale that? For example, guys, a kind of an interventions, for example, digitization of economy can solve many of the challenges. Financial inclusion can solve many of the challenges. If we implement the financial inclusion of everyone, every person gets a bank account, corruption leakages in the social, so in the corruption leakages which happen when some of the subsidies are to be provided, they can be solved. So basically what will be happening in the Global South Center for Excellence, we will help in research and will provide the developmental solutions which can be scaled and which can solve the complex developmental problems of these countries. Fine. Apart from these initiatives, we also have proposed Global South Young Diplomat Forum. Global South Young Diplomat Forum. Now here the young IFS officer, young officers of the foreign ministries, they will be connected and they will be dealing with the common challenges that these countries are having. It will help in bringing the collaboration on foreign policy aspect between the global south countries. Then next is India has also offered the Global South Scholarship to the students who will come in India, okay, for their higher studies. Now, just this particular thing, I want to connect with one other recent current affair issue, that development that has happened. Recently, guys, what happened? UGC, University Grants Commission, has issued directions to allow foreign universities to open their campus in India. Now, Stanford, MIT, Harvard, they can open their campuses in India. Now, see this thing, global south countries, developing countries, underdeveloped countries, there often educational standards are not good. Students have to go to Europe, North America to get higher studies, but studies are very expensive there because cost of living is very high. Now India can act as a counter. India, number one, is inviting the foreign universities. Then India's own premier institutions are there, so they can offer quite a few options to the students. They can come in India and they can study. So South, Global South scholarships. Now, by this particular thing, India will emerge as an educational hub in Global South. Fine. So all these initiatives have been launched. Now a question comes that whether India is fit to be the powerhouse of Global South. India is fit to be the leader of the Global South? Yes or no? So definitely yes, India is fit to be powerhouse of the Global South, and for those particular things I am going to give you some of the arguments. Now see this particular thing, guys. First of all, when we talk about India, India has positioned itself as a 21st century powerhouse. How? Because number one, guys, number one, we have demographic dominance. Today, we are going to be the most populous country in 2023 as per United Nations World Population Prospect Report. Moreover, India's rich diaspora. India has largest diaspora today. Up after the China diaspora are the people of India who are living in other countries. So India has today the largest diaspora, which can help as ambassador of India's soft power in those countries. So second is technical breakthroughs. India has made quite impressive technical breakthroughs in defense systems, satellite communication, vaccine development, space technologies. So through these technical breakthroughs, India can be leader, can help in providing these technological solutions. Economically also, India is a powerhouse. So today, guys, when we talk about India, India is likely to overtake Japan as Asia's second largest economy by 2030. So economically, India can provide such economic assistances as well. Moreover, when we talk about Global South, we see this thing that these countries also face similar social challenges. Socio-economic indicators are poor, but India had worked quite impressively, had improved sex ratio, mortality rate, educational standards, health standards have been improved. These common challenges are being faced by in those countries also. So here we can help. Then next issue that comes, guys, here in this particular direction is that, see, when we talk about India, we have seen this thing that India is going to start this Arogya Maitri. India already had proven credible track record in providing this particular assistance, because in Vaccine Maitri already around 100 countries received India made vaccines during the time of pandemic. Moreover, India's humanitarian role have been quite credible. Fine, they have been impressive. For example, recently when Russia-Ukraine war broke, at that point of a time, India evacuated not only Indian citizens from Ukraine, but many of the citizens from other countries also got evacuated. Similarly, when in Afghanistan, Taliban took over, then also India helped in evacuation of the citizens of even other countries. So on compassion, on humanitarian grounds also, India has a credible track record. Then India's public digital assets. So India had done very impressive, we have made very impressive strides on digital transformation. For example, UPI, Unified Payment Interface, RuPay, which is India's own gateway. Okay, then Bhim UPI, Cowin, Arogya Setu. These are many of the digital initiatives that we have launched, which have helped in improving the ease of governance, and many of the public services have been, their delivery has made much more effective by these particular digital public assets that India has launched. Moreover, even countries such as Bahrain, Saudi Arabia, they have started to use even India's RuPay. So because of these digital assets that India had developed, we can now help, we can roll out them to Global South countries and can help them in their development also. Then even on health front, guys, we know this particular thing that India has the state of the art health infrastructure, and for that medical tourism is a very big low hanging fruit for India, which India has reaped. For medical tourism, we can now understand this particular thing that we can provide in terms of health medical services to these countries. Already India is providing capacity building support to healthcare professionals to many of the countries from Global South. Moreover, when we talk about India, India also has recently started Heal in India initiative. Now in Heal in India initiative, in the Ministry of Health and Family Welfare is trying to project India as a global leader in health sector. Fine. Now, if India will be positioned as a global leader in health sector, number one, low cost medical interventions, medical services can be provided to these global south countries in India. Secondly, India will be positioned as the leader in medical tourism. So India can be educational hub, India can be a medical hub for these countries. Moreover, apart from allopathy, India also has an impressive track record in providing alternative medications, traditional medications, Ayurveda, Unani, Yoga, Siddh, homeopathy. Moreover, when we talk about yoga, already India's yoga has been accepted as a has been recognized at international front, where UNGA is celebrating International Day of Yoga on 21st of June every year. So this is the proven credibility of yoga. Moreover, recently India along with the WHO has started Global Center for Traditional Medicine at Jamnagar in Gujarat. So India's traditional medications, yoga, Unani, Siddh, homeopathy, they can again act as a, they can attract many of the medical tourists. Fine. Moreover, even the environment, which today happens to be a buzzword around the world, on environment also India's initiatives, for example, coalition for a disaster resilient infrastructure and infrastructure for resilient island states. Now these two initiatives India has launched, and in these two initiatives India is providing assistance to island nations or assistance to those nations which will be impacted by climate induced disasters such as a cyclone, tsunami, etc. Will provide them knowledge, will provide them technical assistance that how they can safeguard their infrastructure. Fine. So for that, coalition for disaster resilient infrastructure and infrastructure for resilient island states is a notable initiative. Particularly when we talk about IRIS, here IRIS is a part of CDRI. IRIS is a part of a CDRI, and here India is also will be cooperating with countries such as UK, Australia to provide the assistance to these countries. Moreover, India already started the Solar Alliance, where we want to enhance the solar energy potential. So India France jointly launched Solar Alliance in 2015, where we want to leverage solar energies. Okay, so on solar front, solar energy front, India can help. Moreover, recently India's mission lifestyle for environment, where we are nudging people so that they become more responsible while consumption patterns are concerned, because today two-thirds of global emissions are because of the consumption. So for making people more responsible consumers, life movement has been started. Okay, so here under the life movement we need to create pro planet people. Here we aim to create pro planet people who will be responsible consumers. So life initiative had further put forward as how in a sustainable manner development can be carried. Okay, so this is the India's environmental initiative. Then on education front also India can provide many of opportunities, can provide many of assistance, because already recently guys, first of all, India is building. Now we see this particular thing that India is sharing its developmental experience. India is ensuring capacity building on technological front, on other educational front, and for that already India has taken up ITEC, that is India Technical and Economic Cooperation Program. Under ITEC, India is providing assistance to 160 countries on technical and on other developmental educational fronts. So already India has a track record which can be scaled, and therefore India becomes a credible leader. India becomes the most suitable leader of global south, and that message India has given to the entire global south in recent global south summit. Moreover, on school education level also, India's national education policy 2020, national education policy 2020 got appreciated around the world, because in national education policy 2020 India number one has focused that vocation and education needs to be brought along. Sixth class onwards, the focus of India on vocational education that has been there, it has been appreciated, because we are aiming to make our future generations ready for fourth industrial revolution that will now be coming. Moreover, India's education policy is not only effective but it is inclusive. it has the social justice inherent in that. For example, there are 5 foundational pillars of national education policy, that is access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. Okay. Now, when we talk about global south, we see this thing that the global southern countries, they have similar social justice related challenges. Access is a very big problem. Many number of times, because schools are not available in the vicinity, many people are not able to go to those schools. Access is a very big problem. Equity, okay, education is not equitably available to people. Many number of times there are social discriminating factors that come. Often we see this particular thing, that education to girls is not a first priority still in many of the areas, okay, in India as well as other countries. So national education policy will aim that how equity in education can be ensured. Every section should get equitable opportunities for education. There should be no discrimination on gender, no discrimination on ethnicity, no discrimination on religion. Then quality, fine. So not only education is to be made available, but quality of education, pedagogical skills, education should be oriented that the students learn new age skills. So quality is a very important aspect. And then affordability. You already know this thing, that through Right to Education Act, we are providing free and compulsory education to the students between the age of 6 to 14 years, okay. And such affordable model of education India can also roll. India, such models can be taught by India to these global south countries, and by that they can enhance the educational outcomes in their countries. Then there is accountability, okay. So accountability is something teachers, they have been held accountable for delivering. Point is that basically the outcome of educational interventions have been imposed on in the national education policy. So this is something. Moreover, we are aiming to create an educational system that is rooted in India's ethos, okay, and at the same time we also aim to ensure that education related sustainable developmental goals that we want to reach by 2030, they are also reached by India's interventions that we have brought through national education policy. So because of these particular factors, India's national education policy got appreciated at global level, and now we can roll out such philosophy to global south as well. Moreover, when we talk about India has always aspired to develop our youth as global citizens who can find solutions not only for India but for global problems. So such an outlook that's there in the India's national education policy, that shows that India deserves to be the leader of global south. Okay. Then apart from the national education policy that we just discussed, there are many other digital public goods, many such initiatives that have been launched by India in education. pme vidya initiative it is based on the philosophy of one nation one digital platform, where digital online learning materials will be provided through both teachers as well as students through the PME Vidya initiative. Then next is National Digital University. So when we talk about National Digital University, it will provide the access to higher education to people who cannot afford the offline full-fledged education. So people, while they are working, now if they want to pursue education, they have to leave their job, but many people might not be in such condition. So many number of times, if such people want to get education, opportunity cost for them is very high. So to help such people, National Digital University that has been established is quite an impressive intervention. Okay. Then on trade front also, guys, India is already providing duty free market access to least developed countries since 2008 by the duty free tariff preference scheme. So already we have given preference to least developed countries. They can export goods to India, and duty free trade will be there. So it shows that how India has held a special consideration, special regard for the developing countries, global south countries. Moreover, on connectivity also, guys, India has brought some quite good interventions. National logistic policy. Now, what is national logistic policy all about? See this particular thing, that when we talk about transportation of goods from one place to other place, transportation cost is actually very high in India. Because of transportation is high, many number of times export competitiveness of India also comes down. Today, if we talk about transportation cost in India, around 14% of GDP equivalent are transportation cost in India. We need to reduce it to just 10% equivalent of GDP. So if transportation cost will be reduced, our goods, when they are being exported, they will become more competitive. Okay, their cost will come down. So by national logistic policy, we are trying to ensure that connectivity, logistic handling becomes better and it becomes affordable. PM Gati Shakti, PM Gati Shakti, where government will be focusing on developing infrastructure to enhance connectivity. Is it clear or not? Fine. Now, what can be way forward? Guys, see this particular thing, that as India is trying to become the leader of the global south, India has to face a credible challenge from China, because China has, first of all, guys, China has specifically provided that they want to win local wars, and after winning the local wars they need to develop regional hegemony, and after regional hegemony they want to develop global hegemony. So in the calculus of developing regional hegemony of China, China will first try to become the voice of the global south, but India is a better suited uh, uh, candidate here. How and why? Because first of all, when we talk about, guys, India has sought to differentiate development initiatives from the China's initiatives. China's initiatives have been led by debt trap diplomacy. Deliberately, China has financed the financially inviable projects in the developing countries so that those strategic assets China can take over. You can see example in Sri Lanka. In Sri Lanka, China financed the development of Hambantota port, and when Sri Lanka was not able to pay back, Hambantota port was taken on a 99-year lease by Sri Lanka, by China. So China has often followed the debt trap diplomacy, debt trap projects, but India at the same time has human-centric idea of globalization, where India believes in building capabilities of other fellow nations. So therefore, India happens to be more suitable contender. Moreover, India always focused on democratic reforms even in the global institutions such as UN Security Council, Bretton Woods institutions such as the IMF. Okay. Moreover, now as India is a president in G20, India can focus with more vigor these particular kind of reforms, and these reforms actually are crucial for global south countries. All the countries want to prioritize on these particular agendas. So India can be a reform builder, India can be a reform initiator for global south, which always have been India's agenda and south's priority. Okay. Now, with regard to climate change also, guys, we see this particular thing, that today global south has a consensus that developed countries have not done much to reverse the climate change. Okay, developed countries have not given finance, they have not given technologies, and this grievance have always been kept forward by India at global forums. Okay. So this is something that India has always focused, where there is a kind of an ideological match between India as well as the developing countries. Okay. So point is that India can ensure that developing countries should be united. Okay. Then next thing is that India's foreign policy approach is always based on 4R, that is respond to the country's crisis, their needs, recognize their capabilities, recognize their sovereignty, respect their choices, even respect their sovereignty, and reform. Okay, systems need to be reformed so that they can benefit the global south. So because of these 4R, a mantra of India's diplomacy, India suits to be the contender of global south. So this is, guys, all about this particular global south summit that recently got concluded, and with this we come to an end to this particular topic. Guys, I hope that you have liked this particular video and you have understood all these nuances. So that is all, guys, about it, and for the today, that is all. Thank you so much. If you have liked, please do hit the like button and please do subscribe to our channel. Thank you so much.